Okay, y'all. So this was posted in my BurbNBougie subreddit from Politely Horrific. She wants to have a discussion about baby daddies. She says, I've met a lot of guys online through online dating and other random connections. And a lot of the fathers say something similar, and I've noticed a pattern. They typically say something about how the mothers don't allow them to see their children very often, and it's a manipulation tactic by the mother to get more money out of them or keep them in their control. I don't doubt there are some women that are bad, but I just don't believe it's that common. These men can't really explain why a woman would do that other than she's just controlling or she's crazy. So I asked them, what are you doing to have a bigger role on your child's life? And their answer is usually about not having enough money for the court. They would rather pay the money directly or buy the items for the child versus child support. Or the mother or ex wife will get more than he feels she should because the courts aren't fair toward men. I've seen the men from different walks of life go through the court system and win. I wonder if the ones giving these excuses are simply not doing what they need to gain access to their children. I imagine these mothers are living their lives the best they can, and when the father comes around to help or just see their child, then they are willing to work with the father. Otherwise, she's just trying to make it as a single parent. It's worth mentioning the judges are mostly male, so men are choosing the fates of the fathers in these cases, yet they still want to blame women. I guess men are really using their failed family as a way to win a new woman's sympathy, while secretly not doing much of anything to change the situation if they really want more with their children at all. I'm 31 female, never married, no children. And I really do believe that it is a sympathy ploy. People have already done the research into the courts where if a man actually does ask for custody or joint custody, some custody in court, he typically gets it as long as he's not violent or a felon or something or an addict or something. So these men really need to stop this. And if they don't have the money for a lawyer, they don't have the money to do the right things, then yeah, you shouldn't be talking to them from a perspective of a child-free woman, a single woman dealing with these types. It is not worth the stress. Do not do it. Don't even engage with listening to these people because all they want to do is take up your time. They need a friendly ear so they can complain, and it's not worth it. Don't let them mentally dump on you. That's my stance on it. 31, no children. She is an untapped resource, and this man is probably like, ooh, seeing like dollar signs or gold. Absolutely not. Run far away. Account necessary says this makes a lot of sense. If all I'm hearing is victim mentality, then something is up. Independent Bus says, I always ask them if they went through the courts to see their kids and watch them sputter, lying butts, premature balding, ED suffering losers. I don't date fathers anyway, but sometimes they hide the children or lie. So they may get a couple of conversations out of me before I find out. And that's another thing. These people, no, 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 no. I believe wholeheartedly if you break up and you have children, immediately go to court and establish time and child support. That way, there's no complaining, there's no, all of this conversation. No, give them daddies their time. That way, you can have some free time on your own as well. McQueen says baby daddies are the biggest liars. My ex only gets his sons once a month for haircuts. That's it. I've encouraged, asked, and begged him to get them, and he just won't. We've been separated almost 5 years, and he doesn't contribute much financially. I've asked him to buy the items or take the kids to get stuff, but he won't do that either. I told him he could pay the sitter directly, and he refused that too. I've tried to think of ways so he won't have to give the money directly to me. He refused anything I've offered. When we left court recently after child support was rewarded to my kids, he said he wished he would just give him a list. I'm like, I tried that and you wouldn't do it. I have texts to back all of it up. He's supposed to get them every other weekend, and he's not doing that either. I'm so tired of the lying men do. It makes me so angry because he's hurting his kids. His late dad took care of our kids for a few years while we worked. He was a nice man and he apologized to me for how his son was. He knew. By the way, I've worked 2 jobs for 20 years, well before I knew him. And when we were together, I paid most of the bills and I helped him get the job he has now, and it pays well too. I'm so tired of men's lies. So this woman was the breadwinner and doing the heavy lifting, and now she's still having to do the heavy lifting. So keep this in the back of your brain as a cautionary tale. Radical Mind says, isn't it funny how they all have the same story and the mothers have the same response? The crazy part is, let me preface, I'm a single mother. My son is 24, so I walked away a long time ago. The crazy thing is, we as mothers try so hard to not even go into the hows and whys. We already dealing with the fact the father has set it up for us to look blind, deaf, and dumb. My son's father took me to court because I was so fed up. I was fed up. I took my son and hid for 2 years. I got tired of the money excuses before and after he was told to pay child support. That whole ordeal was a blessing in disguise because many things happened in front of my son that proved that his father was in some I used to beat myself up because I never wanted to be in a situation of picking bad. Fast forward, I'm not jumping at the chance to date a man with children because of these stories. These men are never going to take accountability for their part. I was the scapegoat, and I see that 90% of mothers are also in every man's stories. We are the villains. Shaking my head. But as I said, it's funny how they all have the same story. So I throw it back at them. Where are you meeting these women? And you need to choose better. Impossible Mo says they are all pathological liars. My own sperm donor, who I've only seen a handful of times, story was that my mother stopped him from seeing me. He took me one Friday night and was supposed to bring me back on Sunday and turned up on Tuesday. This was 1990, so only house phones. On the odd occasion, he had me to leave me at his mother's, but when my mom called her, she said she hadn't been by. I'm sorry, he hadn't been by that weekend. My mom had to call the police. He turned up like nothing. She said no more overnight visits, but didn't stop day visits. After that, he made zero effort. Lived in the same house until I was 18. My grandparents lived not too far, and he knew where we all lived. Again, zero effort. We went on to have went on to have 4 more kids. Child-free women shouldn't be wasting their time even having a conversation with a man once learning he has children. I know so many even lie about that. Cut it off and block as soon as you learn the truth. And with that, I'm going to end it because I completely agree. Child-free women, do not be a resource. Do not be a resource because you have more time, energy, and resources than he does, and he's probably looking to tap into that. So cut it off, block. Do not be a surrogate. Do not be a fill-in. Don't be his soft landing spot. Jump in the comments. Let me know what you think about this one. Don't forget to like, comment, and share. Okay, so this screenshot was posted in my BurbNBougie subreddit, and I've been tagged a few times in various other places with this screenshot. This is an old post from a while ago, and it is titled, I am seriously contemplating divorcing my husband over a prank. Now, we have talked about pranks and jokes, and I'm going to be honest, I didn't go and look and see if this was still up and if there was an update or anything. I'm just going to use this as another reminder that we are not accepting jokes and mean spirited pranks because a lot of the times they are just ways to act mean or be terrible to your spouse, typically a woman. Sometimes even brothers do this to sisters or friends. Platonic friends do this to other girlfriends, and it's just not something that we should accept. So she says she's contemplating divorce after these pranks. These 3 pranks. Three pranks in particular have angered me to the point of tears, raging out, and now I'm contemplating divorce. Prank 1 was making coffee for our guests with my breast milk. I'm having trouble pumping, so I don't have much stored away. I was so angry and embarrassed. That is terrible. If you have been a breastfeeding and pumping mom, you should be enraged by that piece as well. I know I certainly was, because pumping is no joke. Prank two was pretending to have cut his fingers off in the garden. He dragged it on for ages too and put fake blood around, not just a quick little joke. That is terrible. That gets your heart rate pumping. If you have any empathy for the person that you're married to, you would feel a sense of dread. Your adrenaline would be pumping. You would be stressed. This is a terrible prank. It's not really a prank, it's just mean. And this last one is pretty gross. She says, and lastly, prank three, which happened today, and I feel is my final straw. Last night, I was hinting about breakfast in bed, so this morning he brings me a coffee, toast, and some chocolates. What I assumed was peanut butter on my toast was, in fact, our baby's poop. As I have severe sinus issues, I didn't realize it and took a small bite. I spat it out straight away. He laughed hysterically, and I told him to get out. He later messaged me and said all his workmates thought it was hilarious, which is just embarrassing on top of it all. Now, like I said, these little, I know what Reddit is. I know that Reddit can literally be a place for fan fiction. I get that, but these pranks do happen. Pranks do happen in general, and talking about it is just to bring it into the public sphere, into the social media public sphere, to recognize that they are not funny, they are not jokes. And if you are experiencing them, you should extricate yourself, because they are not worth it. That's how they really feel about you. And they just try to cover it up with a little cologne, which is what their humor is. They try to cover up poop with a little cologne. That's what their humor is. That's it. That's all. Do not accept this. The Concrete Ghost says, why does this man hate the mother of his child? If his coworkers thought it was funny, then they should have no problem letting him live with them. Creepy Night says, because he doesn't treat her as a human, but just another accessory on his life that he can easily discard. The Concrete Ghost says, isn't messing with her food legally assault? And Black Baby says, not just her food. What about the breast milk? These aren't funny pranks. What else is she going to consume that she shouldn't? Historian, okay, no one thought it was funny. No way he told anyone the truth. Rainey says, wow, WTF, I would think a prank involving making people eat poop might be grounds to be sued over. She should deliver him divorce papers in person to his workplace, look around and ask, who is laughing now? Finally, I hope this is fake. Me too. I really hope this is fake. She says, I didn't see any pranks here. Number 3 was an attack. Salty French Fry says, I believe it's real. Men love to play these pranks. I was with a person briefly, and he constantly made jokes about slapping me by slapping his own cheek when we played a game online. He would hit my avatar for fun until I got annoyed and said, dude, that's enough. And then he's like, what did I do now? Behaving like a child, that's what. And the London Rich says, testing your boundaries to see if he could get away with slapping you for real. More like, may you never run into his like again. Exactly. Testing boundaries, seeing how much they can abuse you and make you feel like it's a joke. It's not a joke. Okay, jump in the comments. Let me know what you think about this. Don't forget to like, comment, and share. I was tagged in this post. This is in the marriage subreddit. Bleeding Electricity says, my spouse read my therapist notes about our relationship and got really mad. She says she was married 15 years. We share 2 kids. I recently got a mental health evaluation at my spouse's insistence. My spouse has been insisting for a decade. They believe I'm mentally ill, and I went through with a full psychological evaluation. I received no diagnosis, a clean bill of health. I'm happy about this. Meanwhile, my spouse went through the same process and received 5 diagnoses: ADHD, autism, OCD, PTSD, and GAD. If anybody knows what GAD is, please let me know. Well, my spouse began looking through the 25-page report from the psychiatrist. As part of the assessment, my evaluator contacted my former therapist. I had to drop due to insurance issues, and the therapist summarized that the client believes their partner is bad at managing money. That's it. That's the only critical thing about my spouse in the whole 25-page document. It doesn't say I'm secretly harboring a crack addiction or sleeping around or I hate my partner. I have concerns about how my spouse manages money, which I have expressed at length, and they saw it written on my assessment form. My spouse went on to read through my personality assessment in a very hateful tone, word for word, and riffed on how they were right all along because I have various personality traits. They told me I am the bad kind of person and I am the bad personality and I have a shitty personality, among other hurtful things. This went on for about 6 hours, 6 solid hours of being harassed and name called. I don't know how to proceed. My spouse refuses to do marriage counseling, although I asked for it several times yesterday. My spouse receives no therapy or services for any of the 5 diagnoses. What do I do? Lord, the beratement that some of these women are willing to put up with. This goes back to the conversations that we need to continue to have about having a sense of self-preservation. Thinking that you are going to go into retirement age 5 years from now, 3 days from now, with somebody berating you, you don't deserve that. Like, have some sense of, do you really want your children thinking it's normal to have a dad berating their mom over something like this? Just if you don't have the sense of self-preservation for yourself, think about what it's saying to your children to have a man do this to you. If he doesn't do what he needs to do as far as getting some coping skills, getting some help managing his anger issues, then yes, at this point it is time to walk away. But y'all can weigh in and let's look at some of these comments. I'm just saying, says, as someone married to someone with ADHD that was undiagnosed for a while, and after spending some time in ADHD partner subs, I thought this one was real. Even his reaction seems normal to untreated ADHD, since they are extremely sensitive and take any bit of criticism as a personal attack. Rejection sensitivity diaspora, RSD, is so difficult to deal with as a partner. Nimsy, it's only normal for people with ADHD who weaponize their diagnoses. It shouldn't be seen as normal for everyone with ADHD because you can do something about it. And she says, I agree, it can be normal for untreated ADHD, but it shouldn't be accepted as normal for everyone with ADHD. Aaron Taco says the feelings themselves of rejection are common even to treated ADHD. His reaction is what makes it toxic. Sometime later says, interesting that you're giving OP a female gender and their spouse a male. I read it the opposite. And then Confused Crafty Witch says, I thought the OP had said they were female until I saw this comment, and then I had to read it again. Now I think you're right. Not that it matters, but it's interesting to see how automatic the gender assumptions are. I thought that the OP was a woman. Let me go back. Huh. Now that you go back and look at it, it just says married for 15 years. We share 2 kids. I recently, at my spouse's insistence, my spouse has been insisting, okay, that person is right. I just assumed that the OP writing this was the woman and the person with the 5 diagnoses was the man. But y'all can go ahead and weigh in. Did you notice that? Who did you think the gender was? Y'all let me know in the comments about that. Accomplished Cash says, my spouse is medicated and still does all of this, and he abuses substances as a coping mechanism as well. So, y'all, go ahead, jump in the comments, regardless of the gender of the OP. Their kids don't need to see this, regardless of who the person is, the perp, and the person accepting these behaviors. It's unacceptable, no matter which gender is which. But that was definitely an oversight that I hadn't caught. But did you catch it? Let me know what you think about this one. Don't forget to like, comment, and share. And if you made it this far and you haven't yet followed, go ahead and give me a follow.